Let me tell you something, and I need you to sit down for this one. Pour yourself something warm, put your phone face down, and listen to me like I'm your uncle who has watched too many good women give away too much of themselves to men who never learned how to receive them. Because tonight I'm going to tell you about 3 places every man wants you to kiss. 3 places he dreams about. 3 places he will never, ever ask for out loud. And by the end of this conversation, you're going to understand something about men that most women live their whole lives never figuring out. Now, before you start thinking I'm about to get grown on you, hear me clearly. I'm not talking about what you think I'm talking about. I'm talking about something deeper, something a man cannot admit even to himself, something that separates the woman he plays with from the woman he builds his life around. And baby, if you learn what I'm about to teach you, you will never again wonder why a man went quiet, why he pulled back, why he chose the woman you swore was less than you. You will know. You will finally know. So let me sit down across from you at this kitchen table and let me break this down the way my grandmother would have broken it down if she'd had the words. Because this is not a lesson about seduction. This is a lesson about power. Your power, the power you were born with and the world convinced you to hand over one apology at a time. See, here's what nobody tells you about men. A man has 2 languages. He has the language he speaks out loud, and he has the language his soul speaks in the dark when he's alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering why he can't stop thinking about you. And the language of his soul, sister, is a language of hunger. Not the hunger you think, not the hunger the world taught you men, had a deeper hunger, a hunger to be known, a hunger to be safe, a hunger to be seen by one woman in a way the whole world refuses to see him. And there are 3 places on him. And I'm not talking about his body the way you're thinking. 3 places where that hunger lives. 3 places he will never point to. 3 places he will never request. 3 places that when you kiss them, something in him breaks open and cannot be sealed shut ever again. And once you understand these 3 places, you will stop chasing men. You will stop begging men. You will stop shrinking for men because you will finally understand the currency they were born hungry for. And you will realize you have been sitting on a fortune your whole life. So let me tell you about the first place. And I need you to lean in because this one is going to hit different than you expected. The first place every man wants you to kiss is his forehead. Yeah, you heard me. His forehead. Not his lips first, not his neck first, his forehead. And I know what you're thinking. Sister, that sounds too simple. That sounds too small. That sounds like something you do to a child. And that right there is exactly why it undoes him. Let me tell you why. Every man walking this earth, from the CEO in the corner office to the brother pumping gas at the corner store, is carrying weight you cannot see. He is carrying pressure to provide. He is carrying pressure to protect. He is carrying pressure to have every answer and never look confused, never look scared, never look tired. From the time he was a little boy, the world told him, boys don't cry, boys don't complain, boys figure it out. And so he grew into a man who learned to swallow everything. His fear, his grief, his loneliness. He swallowed it all and put on a face and went out into the world. And here's what happens, baby. When a woman kisses a man on his forehead softly, with intention, with tenderness, his body reads it as safety. His nervous system, which has been on high alert since he was a boy, finally exhales. Something inside him that has been clenched for 30, 40, 50 years releases. And in that moment, you become something to him he did not even know he was looking for. You become the one place in the world he does not have to perform. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? You've seen it. You've seen a strong man fall apart in the arms of a soft woman. You've seen the toughest man you know go completely still when a woman touches his face like he matters. And you wondered, what is that? What just happened? Why did his whole body change? I'll tell you what happened. His soul was recognized. And once a man's soul has been recognized by a woman, sister, he will move heaven and earth to stay near that recognition. Because the world is full of women who will kiss his mouth. The world is full of women who will kiss his body. But a woman who kisses his forehead, a woman who kisses the part of him that carries all the weight, that woman becomes rare. That woman becomes irreplaceable. That woman becomes home. Let me tell you about a woman I know. Let's call her Maya. Maya had been dating a man for about 8 months, and she couldn't figure out why she felt like she was auditioning for a role she already had. He was affectionate, but he was distant. He was present, but he was guarded. And she came to me one day, tired, worn down, and she said, I don't know what he wants from me. I've tried everything. I've been sexy. I've been sweet. I've been quiet. I've been fun. And nothing seems to reach him. I said, Maya, baby, stop trying to reach him where the world already reaches him. Every woman he's ever dated has reached for the same places. His mouth, his body, his ego. Try something none of them have tried. Try reaching him where he's tired. And she looked at me confused, and I said, next time he comes over after a long day, before you say a word, put both your hands on the sides of his face, pull him towards you gently, and kiss him one time on his forehead. Then let him go. Don't explain it. Don't make a big deal of it. Just let it happen. She calls me 2 weeks later. And baby, her voice was different. Her whole vibration was different. She said, he cried. He didn't say anything for about a minute. And then he just started crying quietly. And then he held me tighter than he's ever held me. And now he calls me every morning before work. Now he tells me things he's never told anybody. Now I feel him. I finally feel him. That's the power of the forehead kiss. That's what the first place does. Because sister, a man does not want a woman who worships his strength. A man wants a woman who honors his humanity. And the forehead is where his humanity lives. Behind that forehead is every worry he's never spoken, every dream he's never named, every fear he's carried alone for decades. And when your lips land there with tenderness, you are telling him without words, I see the weight you carry. I am not afraid of it. I am here. And I need you to hear me on this next part, because this is where most women miss it. You cannot fake this. A forehead kiss with an agenda is felt immediately. A forehead kiss done to manipulate lands cold. A man's body knows the difference between a woman who is genuinely tender and a woman who is performing tenderness to get something from him. So if you're going to do this, and I hope you do with the right man, you have to do it from a place of actually seeing him, actually caring, actually being willing to hold the space he steps into. Now, let me tell you what happens in a man's mind when this becomes a regular experience with you. He starts to reorganize his life around access to you, not access to your body, access to that feeling, because that feeling is a drug he did not know existed. Every other high in his life, the money, the promotion, the applause, the win, is external. It's out there. It has to be chased. But the feeling of being tenderly received by a woman who is not afraid of his humanity, That's internal. That's home. And a man will chase money his whole life. But the moment he tastes home, sister, he will drop the chase and stay. That's why players stop playing. That's why the man everybody said would never settle down suddenly settles down. It's not because she was prettier. It's not because she was slimmer. It's not because she gave him more. It's because she gave him something he had never been given before. She gave him a place where he did not have to perform. And once a man has that, everything else in the world tastes like sawdust. Now, let me be clear with you, baby, because I don't want you walking away from this misunderstanding me. I am not telling you to become his mother. I'm not telling you to shrink yourself into some soft, silent servant of his emotions. That is not what this is. There is a world of difference between a woman who tenderly recognizes a man and a woman who dissolves herself into a man. One is a queen, the other is a doormat. And a man cannot love a doormat. He can use one, but he cannot love one. You honor his weight without carrying it for him. You see his humanity without becoming his therapist. You kiss his forehead, and then you go pour yourself a glass of wine and live your own beautiful life. Because the forehead kiss only means something if it comes from a woman who has somewhere else to be. A woman with her own fullness. A woman who chose to give him that moment and could have just as easily chosen not to. That's the difference. That's always been the difference. All right, now let me tell you about the second place. And this one, sister, is where it gets a little spicy, but not in the way you think. The second place every man wants you to kiss is the space right where his shoulder meets his neck. That little curve, that soft slope, that spot where the muscle rises up to meet the jaw. You know exactly where I'm talking about. And I want to tell you why that spot is so charged, so powerful, so full of meaning that a man cannot articulate. That spot is where a man carries his armor. Think about it. When a man is stressed, where does the tension go? His shoulders. When a man is on guard, what rises? His shoulders. When a man is preparing for a fight, whether it's in a boardroom or on a street corner, his body pulls upward, his shoulders tighten, his neck goes rigid. That whole region becomes stone because that whole region is where he braces himself against the world. Now, most women, when they get close to a man, they go for the mouth, they go for the chest, they go for the places the movies taught them to go for. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. But baby, when you press your lips softly, slowly into that little valley where his shoulder meets his neck, you are kissing his armor. You're kissing the exact place he holds the world back. And in that moment, the armor cracks. Not because you forced it, because you honored it. Let me explain the psychology, because I want you to understand this on a bone deep level. A man's shoulders are where he holds his identity as a protector. Every man, whether he admits it or not, was raised with the idea that his job in this world is to shield the people he loves. Shield them from danger, shield them from lack, shield them from disappointment. And that job is heavy. It is heavy every single day. And most men do it in complete silence because they were taught that a real man never complains about the shield. When you kiss him in that spot with softness, with slowness, you are doing something almost no woman does. You are acknowledging the shield. You are saying without words, I see what you carry for me and for us. I see that you have been standing guard. And for one moment, I want you to put the shield down and let me love the man who was standing behind it. Sister, do you understand how rare that is? Do you understand how few women in his life have ever spoken to that part of him? His mother loved him, but she leaned on him. His previous girlfriends wanted him, but they wanted him strong. Nobody has come to him and honored the tired warrior underneath. Nobody has come to that shoulder and said, rest here. Let me tell you about another woman. Let's call her Rachel. Rachel had been married for 11 years, and she came to me and said, my husband and I have become roommates. We're kind, we're respectful, but the fire is gone, and I don't know how to get it back without begging him to notice me, which I refuse to do. I told Rachel the same thing I'm telling you. I said, stop trying to seduce him. Try to see him. And here's what I want you to do. Tonight, when he sits down on the couch after work, don't ask him about his day. Don't turn on the television. Just walk over, stand behind him, put your hands on his shoulders, and instead of massaging them the way you always do, bend down and kiss him once slowly, right where his shoulder meets his neck. Then walk away. Go do something else. Don't say a word. She called me the next morning. She said he followed me into the kitchen 10 minutes later and asked me what that was. And I just smiled and said, that was me remembering you. And he stood there for a long time. And then he pulled me into a hug and held me for so long I thought he might never let go. And she said, we talked for 3 hours that night about things we hadn't talked about in years, about who we used to be, about who we still are, about what we want. And she said, I feel him again. For the first time in a decade, I feel him again. That is what that spot does. That is why every man wants you to kiss it, and why he will never, ever ask you to. Because he cannot admit he wants to be seen. He cannot admit he wants to put the shield down. He cannot admit he needs rest. But when you go there without being asked, sister, you become the woman who knew what he needed before he did. And that woman, baby, is the woman a man dies loyal to. Now, I want to warn you about something, because this next part is where a lot of women misuse this knowledge. When you learn what a man responds to, there's a temptation to use it as a weapon, to use it to manipulate, to use it to trap. And I need you to hear me clearly. The moment you use tenderness as a strategy, it stops working. Men can feel the difference. They may not be able to name it, but they can feel it. Their body knows. Their spirit knows. And you will find that a man who was melting under your touch 2 months ago is suddenly cold and distant, and you cannot figure out why. It's because somewhere along the way, your tenderness turned into technique, and technique cannot compete with truth. So when I tell you these 3 places, I am not giving you a manipulation manual. I am giving you a language you can speak fluently only if you actually love the man in front of you, only if you actually respect him, only if you are actually choosing him from a place of fullness, not fear. And if he is not the man for you, then don't kiss him anywhere. Walk away. Save these places for the man who deserves them. Because these 3 kisses are not for every man. They are for the man who has earned the sanctuary of you. You are not a hotel. You are not a rest stop. You are not a convenience store where a man can grab what he needs and keep driving. You are a sanctuary. And a sanctuary chooses who enters. A sanctuary has doors. A sanctuary has hours. A sanctuary has standards. And the man who kneels at your door with the right heart, that is the only man who gets to feel these kisses. Everybody else can keep it moving. Do you hear me? All right. Now let me tell you about the 3rd place. And this one, sister, is the deepest of them all. This one is the one that changes a man's life. This one is the one that separates the woman he sleeps with from the woman he marries. The 3rd place every man wants you to kiss is his heart, not his chest, his heart. And I need you to hear the difference because it is everything. His chest is muscle. His chest is body. His chest is what the world sees when he takes off his shirt. But his heart is deeper. His heart is buried under bone and muscle and years of being told to lock it up. And when I say kiss his heart, I mean lay your ear against his chest. Listen for the sound of his heartbeat. And then press your lips right there, right over that rhythm. And hold them there for one long moment. Not a peck, not a passing kiss, a landing, a settling, a stay. Because sister, that is a place where every man was told as a little boy that he had to lock himself away. That is the place where his first heartbreak lives. That is the place where every disappointment he has ever swallowed lives. That is the place where the version of him nobody ever met. The tender boy, the dreamer, the artist, the poet, the softness the world beat out of him. That version of him is still alive, curled up, waiting. And when your lips land on that place, and when you hold them there long enough for him to feel your breath through his skin, something ancient happens. He remembers who he was before the world hardened him. He remembers what it felt like to be loved without needing to earn it. He remembers for one moment that he is not just a role, not just a resume, not just a paycheck, not just a protector. He is a soul, and you just kissed his soul awake. Baby, I want you to understand how rare this is. Most men go their entire lives without ever having a woman kiss their heart like this. Their wives may kiss their chest. Their girlfriends may kiss their body. But almost no woman goes to the heart itself, deliberately, slowly, with the intention of saying, I love who lives in here. I am not just here for the man the world sees. I am here for the man you are when nobody is watching. Let me tell you about a woman named Tasha. Tasha had been dating a man for 2 years. A good man, a stable man, but a man who was emotionally locked up so tight, she felt like she was in a relationship with a very kind stranger. She could not get him to open up. She could not get him to be vulnerable. She could not get him to let her all the way in. And one night, after they had been lying in bed watching television, she turned to him, put her head on his chest, listened to his heartbeat for a minute, and then, without saying a word, she moved her lips to right over his heart and kissed him there. Not a sexy kiss, not a suggestive kiss, a slow, deliberate, sacred kiss. And then she just laid her cheek back down and listened. She told me later that at first he didn't move, he didn't breathe, he didn't say anything. And she started to wonder if she'd made him uncomfortable. But then she felt his hand come up and rest gently on the back of her head. And she felt him swallow hard. And then she felt something warm hit her cheek. And she realized he was crying. Silently, without moving, just tears sliding down into her hair. And after a long time, he whispered, "My mother used to do that when I was little. My mother used to lay her hand right there and tell me she loved me. Nobody has touched me there since she died." And Tasha said in that moment, she understood what she had been missing for 2 years. She hadn't been missing him. She had been missing permission to reach him. And once she found the right door, he opened, and he has been open ever since. That is the third place. That is the deepest place. That is the place a man carries his whole hidden life. And when you kiss him there with reverence, sister, you are telling him something no achievement, no title, no amount of money will ever tell him. You are telling him he is worthy of being loved on the inside. Not for what he does, not for what he provides, not for how he performs, but for who he is when the lights go out and the world stops watching. Now let me pause here because I want to talk to you directly, woman to woman, sister to sister, I need you to hear something. You have been taught your whole life that a man's love has to be earned. You have been taught to compete for it. You have been taught to perform for it. You have been taught to shrink, to fit it, to expand, to hold it, to twist yourself into whatever shape the last man required. And you are tired. I know you are tired. Because a woman who is trying to earn love from a man who should be honored to receive her, that woman is exhausted in her bones. I need you to hear me clearly. You are not too much. You have never been too much. You will never be too much. The men who told you that you were too much were not too much for you. They were too little for you. And there is a world of difference, baby, between a man who cannot handle you and a woman who is asking for too much. You have never been asking for too much. You have been asking the wrong men. Because a real man, a grown man, a whole man, he does not run from a woman who kisses him on his forehead. He does not flinch from a woman who kisses him where his shoulder meets his neck. He does not shut down when a woman kisses him over his heart. He kneels, he softens, he shows up, he stays, he builds, because he has been waiting his whole life to be received the way you are ready to receive him. He just didn't know that language existed until you spoke it. So the question is not whether these 3 kisses work. They work. They have worked since the beginning of time. The question is, are you giving them to the right man? Because if you are giving your sanctuary away to a man who has not earned it, a man who ghosts you, a man who half loves you, a man who keeps you in the waiting room of his life, then all the tenderness in the world will not save that relationship. It will only teach him that he can access the sacred without paying the price. And baby, the sacred always requires a price. That price is not money. That price is not sex. That price is his consistency, his commitment, his willingness to choose you out loud in front of the world every single day. That is what he pays for the privilege of the 3 kisses. And if he will not pay it, he does not get to enter the sanctuary. Period. Now here's where most women mess up, and I need you to listen carefully. Most women, when they learn something like this, they immediately think, let me try this on the man I've been struggling with. Let me try this on the man who won't commit. Let me try this on the man I've been chasing. And I need to stop you right there. You do not use the 3 kisses to win a man. You use the 3 kisses to bless a man who has already won you. Do you hear the difference? You do not spend the currency of your sacredness trying to convince a man to stay. You spend it celebrating a man who has already chosen to stay. Because the kisses are not bait. The kisses are a reward. And the man who has not earned the reward does not get the reward. If you're sitting there right now thinking about a specific man, a man who has been giving you crumbs, a man who disappears for days, a man who cannot decide whether he wants you or not, sister, close that door. Close it tonight. Do not give him the forehead kiss. Do not give him the shoulder kiss. Do not give him the heart kiss. Give him the door. Because a man who cannot decide about you does not get access to the deepest parts of you. He gets the exit and you get your peace back. Because here's the truth nobody wants to tell you. The moment you stop giving your sacredness to unworthy men is the moment worthy men become visible to you. As long as you are pouring into the wrong cup, you cannot see the right one being placed in front of you. Your hands are full. Your energy is drained. Your discernment is clouded. But the day you finally say, I am done giving my sanctuary to people who have not earned the key, that is the day the right one walks into the room and you finally have the clarity to see him. Let me tell you about a woman named Denise. Denise was 42 years old when she came to me. She had been in and out of relationships for 20 years. And she said, I keep giving my everything to men who never quite show up. And I'm tired. I don't want to try anymore. I don't want to hope anymore. I just want to be at peace by myself. I told Denise, that's a good starting place. Peace by yourself is a great starting place. But before you close the door on love completely, I want you to try one thing. I want you to make a list of the 3 kisses. I want you to write down forehead, shoulder, heart. And I want you to make a promise to yourself. The next man who walks into your life does not get any of these until he has proven over months, not days, that he has earned the sanctuary of you. He gets your kindness. He gets your friendship. He gets your presence. But he does not get the sacred kisses until he has demonstrated that he is a man who will build with you, protect you, honor you, and choose you out loud. Denise did that. She held that line. And baby, I'm telling you, 6 months later, she met a man who took 9 months to earn his first forehead kiss from her. 9 months. And when she finally gave it to him, he cried. And a year after that, they were married. And every time I see her now, she looks like a woman who finally found the address of her own throne. That is what happens when you stop giving your sacred away for free. That is what happens when you understand the value of what you carry. Because sister, what you carry is not common. What you carry is not average. What you carry is the ability to make a man remember he has a soul.